is Friday, October 17th. Welcome to the Civil Rights, Equity, Immigration, Aging, and Disability Committee. Can I have the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Nazarian, absent. Councilmember Jurado. Here. Councilmember Rodriguez, absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Present.
3 members and a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. We have somewhat of a light agenda, so don't anticipate us being here for quite a long time. And what I'm going to ask today is that we take items number 4 through 6 on consent and continue items number 1 and 2 as they require additional information from departments, which means we'll be hearing one item, which is item number 3. So we'll have a presentation from Shred. Can I please have the city attorney read the instructions for public comment, please?
Of course, Mr. Chair. To the people providing public comment, when it is your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you'd like to speak to. You have 1 minute per item, up to 2 minutes total for the items open for public comment. When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you are not on topic, or if we cannot tell whether you are on topic, you will get 1 brief warning from me or the chair. At that point, you need to get immediately and clearly on topic. If you do not do so, or if you again stray off topic, you will forfeit the rest of your speaking time and we will move on to the next speaker.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. City Attorney. And public comment will be run by a member of City 13, Julia. Can you please lead us in that, calling the names? And as names are called, ask folks to please line up. And when you come to the podium, state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
I'm going to call the names that have signed up, so please line up if you hear your name. I'm calling Laura FM, Kirsten Peterson, and Audit LA, as well as T. Carter to line up. Please state your name and the item you'd like to speak upon.
Hi, Laura Anderson, FM, on all general public comment.
1 minute for the item.
Okay, so Hugo Soto Martinez, I met you directly last year, I believe, at the Hollywood Neighborhood Council, just for a second, and I specifically was talking about the infiltration of Scientology and how we could help the homeless, perhaps. I don't know if you remember that. I met you really quickly, and I was telling you about the children that were born and raised in the cult and what we're doing now and how Scientology has infiltrated the city, especially in East Hollywood, where I live. And because I protest there all the time, we're constantly getting attacked. I do know that there are certain city programs and stuff that you yourself, Hugo, know about that are being used and run in East Hollywood. A lot of them do have ties and connections to Scientology. I do have, as part of my public comment, just a few little packets here that describe main words like safe pointing, fair game, things like that. Hugo Martinez, I also got you this book by a fellow Scientology Child X. If you could read that, that's super important. Thank you for even listening to this. And may I please give this to an officer to... Sorry. Yeah, and the books are for the 2 members that you already received yours, the people who have.
Thank you so much.
The time has expired of the speaker.
Thank
Next
you.
speaker, please.
Thank you.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
Audit LA. I couldn't hear which ones were open.
Leave any of the items on the agenda.
Are they all open? We can speak on all of it? Okay, I'll just speak on all of it.
Lisa.
Okay, yes, I want to speak because this is a lot to deal with aging and civil rights. And again, now unlike Laura, I was not born and raised in Scientology, but her story and so many others inspired me to get involved. And as I see, one of the biggest things on my heart is how the seniors are treated there. I can't tell you the countless times I go down, like you're sitting here trying to provide nutrition and all these benefits for seniors to help them in your senior years. But when I'm down by L. Ron Hubbard Way, I am seeing people do, like elderly people who can barely walk, and they are hand dusting and hand polishing a brick street. It's utterly ridiculous. They are being charged with having to build and tear down their events. And we've been begging you to stop giving them permits until, and these people are not being paid. Do you know that everyone that works on all of their permitted events are paid at most $47 a week for over 100 hours of work? And that's if on a good week, okay? And the fact that they're getting permits, and it's against the law to have anyone working on public work streets or permitted events or anything from the city, there's no religious exemption, and they have to be paid prevailing wages. You know they're not, I know they're not, yet you just gave them another permit for this weekend, okay, for the Day of the Dead, which, by the way, they do not celebrate.
Could the speaker please get on topic? We don't know which item you are speaking
About
to.
the aging and how you're trying to do things, these benefits to help aging, and how the people are being abused instead of helped. Okay, that's, I can go to general.
Okay, please move her to general.
Thank you for interrupting me. Okay, so as I was saying, if I could get my thoughts back together, you have all these seniors who, and other people that aren't seniors that are being abused. They're not being paid prevailing wages. And even LAPD officers saw it when I pointed out to them at the Faith in Blue event, this one elderly man that could, having every 15, even the trash wasn't filled up. He had to keep putting it in the trash back and forth, no help. And he could barely stand up. It's just so abusive. And there's so much documentation of it. If you don't believe me, go look up my channel, Audit LA, go look up her channel, Alara FM. There's so many others that are catching the abuse, and you're allowing it. And then you just give them another permit. Why? Why are you giving them permits if they're not treating the seniors and their workers right? There's no religious exemptions for prevailing wages. How many times do I have to say that before you get it? I get that you're scared of them, so am I. They are defaming me left and right with absolute provable lies. I don't care. I'm going to keep coming because I care about the wages, and I thought you guys did too, with all that, you support the unions. Well, where's that?
Do we have anyone else who signed up for public comment that would still like to speak?
Great.
I believe that's the end of public comment.
Thank you so much. I'll say that again. If there's anyone who hadn't signed up that would like to speak, please line up to the rope to your left, and the sergeants will let you in. Yes.
Please state your name and the item you'd like to speak on.
Name is Tramel Carter.
And the item you'd like to speak on?
I'm going to speak on all items and general public comment.
2 minutes for the items and 1 minute for a general public comment.
Okay, in regards to the items, item number 6, and also in regards to item number 2, ties into one of the reasons I'm here now.
Item number 2 has been continued, so item number 6 you can speak to.
You said which item?
Item 4, 5, 6, and general.
Okay, so in regards to item number 6, I would like to speak on that issue because I see that this committee or commission can allot time to other matters, and I presented matters where I was discriminated against by LAPD officers, and I brought documentation where my name was used, and it has been hindering me. And there's one particular detective that continuously keeps doing things to me, and I've dropped off documents. I'm in District 10. I reached out to Isabel Jurado's office. Her office, from my experience, practices forms of discrimination. If it's not illegal immigration, nothing against illegal people who need assistance. I feel everyone should get assistance, but it's not fair. And I've reached out to her office, no assistance. Then I reached out to District 4, and Armida Reyes, very nice lady, emailed Isabel's office and told Ashley Elias in Isabel Jurado's office to assist me. She never responded. Each time I come speak, she'll sit with a smirk and never send anyone over to assist me. So I then had the pleasure to reach out to Mr. Soto's office, and I was able to speak to Alondra, your district director, very, very nice female. And it's not a thing about race. She's a Hispanic lady. She's a very nice lady. She told me she would do what she can. And I just wanted to come tell you personally, I thank you for having a very nice lady like Miss Alondra, who's not in my district, who doesn't represent me, but she took the time and said that I should maybe present my information to the chair, so I just wanted to come in person to bring documents, and I really didn't want to come up here. I was trying to do it by emailing because people are looked at when they come to meetings, not all, but the yelling and everything that I witnessed before. I didn't want to be those people, so I tried to go through Ms. Gerardo's office, and I would rather just, if I can, just deal with your office due to their experience and professionalism that I received. If I can continue to please deal with Mrs. Alondra to see whichever way she can assist me through Mr. Soto's office. And thank you for having professional staff members in your office and not deal with people based upon a race issue. So I brought some documents to leave with you so that you can see how my name was used. When I presented to LAPD, they told me my matter was unfounded. But the documents show my name was used in crime reports. And this was done prior to officers that were fired, that the chief fired because he said that they were misusing people's names and things like that. But I'm still being affected by it. And every time I present it, I'm told to wait. But if someone has an illegal status or illegal immigration comes out, mayor staff runs out to the parks. So no one's running to me when I say I'm being affected. So I understand that other races need assistance, but it should be fair because no one's running to my groups of people or race of people. When we need assistance, we're told to go through a protocol, but no one's breaking the protocol for me. And I'm just asking, can just a little of that be done? I've been asking since 2019, and I have the documents to show, so I'm just not hearsay. If you could please send this to the chief just to get another response, because what they responded to is not accurate.
Thank you so much.
some
And you can
copies.
leave the documents with Sergeant Duarte. He'll make sure we get it to the right appropriate folks.
I have 5 sets. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that's the end of public comment. Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Nazarian, for joining us. As I mentioned, I want to take items number 4 through 6 on consent and ask for 1 and 2 to be continued since we are still missing some information from some of the departments. And item 3, we'll be hearing it here today. Mr. Clerk, can we take a vote on items 4 through 6? And I don't believe we need to vote on the continued items, correct? Okay, great.
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Nazarian.
Yes.
Councilmember Jurado. Councilmember Rodriguez, absent.
Yeah.
Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
4 ayes, these items are approved.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. All right, can we read item number 3 into the record? And I believe we have someone from the Civil Human Rights and Equity Department to present.
Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department and City Administrative Officer reports relative to consideration of a proposed land acknowledgement statement for the City of Los Angeles and funding resources and revision to the Memorandum of Understanding of the Los Angeles Native American Indian Commission.
See, we're joined by our incredible General Manager, Ms. Maddox, with 2 of her staff members, which I'll give the floor to you. You can introduce some of your team members as well.
Yes. Capri Maddox, General Manager, LA Civil Rights Department, Civil Human Rights and Equity Department, formal name. Very grateful to be joined by 1 member of our team and 1 member from the CLA's office. Very, very grateful to have you here with us, Rafael Garcia from the city CLA's CAO's office. I know
Ms.
this is
Maddox,
in charge
I
of
don't want to
Ramona.
interrupt, but I want to ask ITA to please turn on our cameras so we don't have to stretch our necks for those of us sitting up here. Sorry, we want to face you and still see the presentation.
If we can get the little TVs on. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Go ahead,
about
Ms.
that.
Go ahead, Ms. Maddox.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and members Padilla and Jurado. It's truly a pleasure to be here. Capri Maddox, General Manager, LA Civil Rights Department. I am joined here today by the CAO's office, Rafael Garcia, as well as a member of our team, Ronell Hampton, who serves as the Principal Equity Strategist for our department, who has been leading this effort on behalf of our department with the land use matter that we are here to discuss today. I want to let you know that civil rights works to advance justice in many spaces, including bringing cases against folks who violate civil rights in the areas of commerce, education, employment, and housing. I think it's important to know that we also have 5 commissions. I'm not going to name them all, but many of you work with us: the Human Relations Commission, the Commission on the Status of Women, Transgender Advisory Council, and others. And beyond commissions and enforcement, we are intentional to make sure that we address inequities in many spaces to create a more inclusive city, even having award-winning hate crime prevention campaigns, commonly known as LA is for Everyone, Just Say Hello, those sponsored. We even have a new one, the Belong campaign. I Belong, You Belong, We Belong, we just launched in Van Nuys recently in Van Nuys City Hall. These hate crime prevention campaigns have been sponsored through grants, and we are very, very grateful for this work. I want to also let you know that we have the Office of Race and Equity, who's leading this operation is leading our work when it comes to a number of things equity-based. And to date, we've done over a dozen report backs to City Council since our department was created in the 2020s. I want to be intentional to let you know that the Office of Race and Equity has led some of those efforts, and they also manage the $8.5 million participatory budgeting program that actually many of you in this room actually voted for maybe a year and a half ago. I want to be intentional, let you know this work helps us empower 9 underserved communities to shape city investments directly. This same equity-based format is what guided, is the exact thing that guided us as we worked on the proposed land acknowledgement statement. Following council direction from Council Member Monica Rodriguez, Councilmember Eunice Hernandez, and of course the full City Council. We engaged closely with the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission, also known as LANIC, and the local tribal representatives to ensure the city's process as it relates to providing respect, harm reduction, and meaningful collaboration. I want to be intentional to also thank Mayor Karen Bass's office for the support and space. We want to really highlight the work of the 4 tribes with whom we establish a great working relationship with, and they all confirmed their historical connection to the land where Los Angeles now stands. And to really thank those leaders, the Gabrielina San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, led by the Gabrielina Tongva Tribal Council, the Gabrielina Band of Mission Indians, Quiche Nation, the Fernandino and Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, and the Northern Chumash Tribal Council. And we have a presentation before you today, and I am pleased that we will have Ronell Hampton, the Principal Equity Strategist here, will give a presentation. And at the conclusion of this presentation, members, we will be here to take questions, whether they're for our department or our counterparts over at the CAO's office. Ronell?
Thank you, Capri. Good afternoon, committee members. I'm here on behalf of the Civil Human
Could we
Rights and Equity
maybe put the
Department.
mic a little closer to you? Yeah, thank you so much.
Can you hear me now?
Sounds great, Mr. Hampton, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Again, thank you, Capri, and good afternoon, committee members. I am here on behalf of the LA Civil Rights Department to present the proposed citywide land acknowledgement statement referencing Council File 22-1142. This presentation summarizes our multi-year engagement process with tribal partners and outlines recommendations for a statement in relation to a citywide adoption. In September 2022, Council directed our department to collaborate with the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission and tribal representatives with the support of the Chief Legislative Analyst to create a city land acknowledgement policy. Our department has now submitted 3 reports in October 2023, November 2024, and our latest September 2025, each in improving our approach and incorporating additional feedback. The latest report includes a proposed statement and confirmation from Lanike supporting our process of meaningful tribal engagement. Several departments, including Recreations and Parks, City Planning, and the Zoo, have expressed interest in using a unified citywide statement for public displays, events, and publications. And so, when we're looking at that, it is important that this statement is envisioned as a citywide resource available for recitation at public meetings, publication for city materials, and displays at facilities. It will serve as a consistent baseline acknowledgement while allowing departments flexibility to adapt it for specific or tribal or geographical contexts. Our team followed county and state policies to ensure the proposed city statement aligns with best practices and existing frameworks.
Sorry, Mr. Hampton, sorry to interrupt. It sounds like it's not updating on our screen here. Maybe as you're moving through the presentation, could you let us know what page you're on so we know how to follow? I believe
No
you're
problem. I'm currently on slide 4.
You're on page 4. Thank you. And as you move, just next.
We'll
yeah,
do
whatever,
that.
Just so we know. Thanks.
We'll do that. So regarding slide 4, we engaged many stakeholder groups, including Lanike, tribal groups, the California Native American Heritage Commission, LA County, and our esteemed council members. Through council instruction, we pursued this work to propose a statement, and we were able to clarify roles and responsibilities. We learned that Lanike's role was not to develop a statement nor decide which groups are to be acknowledged as tribes. Native American Heritage Commission gave us a starting point to engage local tribal groups by providing their list. Slide 5. We were able to complete direct engagements with tribal groups. In December of 2023, the Native American Heritage Commission provided a list of 14 tribal groups associated with the region. We reached out to all 14 and successfully engaged with 4 groups that confirmed their historical and geographical connection to the city of Los Angeles. Those engagements occurred through meetings and written correspondence, and the process was formally approved by Lanike this May of 2025. The groups listed here represent both historical and mission strive based on this when we're looking at the direct engagement milestones. So the groups that we engage represent both historical and mission-based tribal groups believed to have ties to Los Angeles region. This broad consultation helped us better understand lived experiences of tribal groups. Slide 6. Engagements with 4 primary tribal groups took place between January and March of 2024. These included the Gabrielino San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians Quiche Nation, Fernandinho Tatavian Band of Mission Indians, and the Northern Chumash Tribal Council. The department also presented updates to Lanike at 5 public meetings between February 2024 and this May of 2025. The department also, this ensured transparency and continuous dialogue with key stakeholders throughout the process. Slide 7. Considerations for citywide statements. We learned a lot from the feedback and insights gathered from our direct engagements with tribal groups. One of the most sensitive parts of this work was ensuring accuracy and inclusion. Tribal identity and naming conventions can be deeply personal and sometimes contested. To mitigate harm, we followed a self-identification approach, allowing groups represented to attest their relation to the city. We recognize this approach may differ from historical verification methods, but prioritize equity and respect in engagement and inclusivity. Slide 8. The statement before you is a culmination of 3 years of collaboration and dialogue. It acknowledges the Quiche, Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash people as the ancestral groups who have a relationship to the land. The statement also names the 4 tribal groups that opted in through our engagement process. Importantly, it recognizes the legacy of colonialization and expresses the city's commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation. This version includes a correction to the spelling of Gabrielino, reflecting the proper designation used by the engaged tribes. And with that said, we would like to formally request that the council to reflect clarification regarding tribal engagement. It is requested that the Civil Rights, Equity, Immigration, Aging, and Disability Committee replace the proposed citywide land acknowledgement statement in the Civil Rights and Equity Department report as follows. The City of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Quiche, Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash people. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that their settler colonialization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, multi-generational trauma, disruption of cultural practices, trade, and tribal relations. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of the city of Los Angeles. We are grateful to have an opportunity to live and work on these ancestral lands. We also honor the self-attestation of current mission-based tribes, confirming their connection to the ancestral lands in which we live and work today. The Gabrielino San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, led by the Gabrielino Tongva Tribal Council, the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians, Quiche Nation, the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, and the Northern Chumash Tribal Council. I would definitely want to go on record thanking our Office of Races and Equity Director, Diamond James, who was instrumental in her leadership in completing this report, and then also my amazing colleagues, Matthew June and Luz Castellano Vargas, who is our Deputy Director of the Office of Race and Equity. I would now like to open it up to the committee members for any questions that you may have regarding this report.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Hampton, for that wonderful presentation. And also I want to thank the folks you mentioned as well who were part of this report. I know you get the honor of coming here and presenting it, but I know a lot of work goes in that from many different folks, and so I want to also acknowledge them for the work that they've done. I also want to thank, I know Councilwoman Rodriguez is not here today, but I know she's done a ton of work on this, really pushing for it. And so if she's listening somewhere, I do want to thank her for the work of moving this along. I love the language of the land acknowledgement. You know, this became a thing, you know, in society a few years ago. I certainly didn't grow up with land acknowledgements. And I've heard so many different versions of it. But I love the one that we have, specifically because it acknowledges the settler colonializing of this country, and it acknowledges the genocide, and the land seizure, and the disease, and the broken promises. You know, as someone who's Mexicano, right? There is so much separation from our indigenous roots because of colonization. But every time I visit my mom and dad's little hometown, you see the indigenous community, and they're very vibrant even to this day where they live, even though the town is only 20,000 people. And I think having this as part of our history is just extremely important. So I just want to thank you for that. I did have a few questions, and I'll open up to the rest of the members of this committee. The report talks a little bit about sort of the willingness of some departments to do this. And particularly, it says, during the research phase, LA Civil Rights learned that RAP's intention to incorporate land acknowledgement statements into park signage, landmark initiatives, and site-specific naming ceremonies, which I think is great, shows initiative on one of the departments. Can you elaborate more on what that research found as far as like RAP's willingness to incorporate this land acknowledgement?
Yes, thank you for the question, Chair Soto Martinez. So in relation to our research, we wanted to get a better understanding on how a land acknowledgement would impact city departments, or what were the use cases of those. So in our engagement, we were able to speak to departments like city planning, Recs and Parks, the zoo, and others.
I'm sorry, put your mic just a little bit, I know. For the public too, because this is being recorded and we want folks on social media.
So we found that many departments like city planning, Recs and Parks, the zoo, and others had use cases. Some of them are interested in reciting it at meetings, Many of them needed for publications that they would be presenting to the public, and then some of them would be important for site-specific signage. And so what we found is that many departments need land acknowledgement, and the county provides some guidance and direction on that. So we were able to reference some of the best practices identified by the county, but our elected officials may be interested in pursuing other clarifications around use cases.
And Ms. Maddox?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we also know that many departments have commissions associated with their bodies, so an opportunity to have a land acknowledgement for those public meetings, even think about Public Works, in addition to the other departments mentioned by Ronell Hampton. I think the one thing we may have some challenges with as it relates to specifically Rec and Parks is to know that site-specific signage has been a controversial issue, even amongst some of the tribes, as we need clarification on which tribes actually were in certain areas on Rec and Park owned lands.
Okay, I understand. And you, Mr. Hampton, you mentioned a little bit about best practices from the county as far as like meetings or public-facing. Could you just speak a little bit on that? Like, what guidance? How do they do it?
So many of the guidance from the county in relation to public meetings is to recite it similar to how you would do the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the meeting, and it's recommended that someone that has the highest seniority in the room lead it. However, in practice, the county actually has a recording that they play at the beginning of each meetings, and that's how they are ensuring that the land acknowledgement statement is shared in their spaces.
I see. So am I understanding that essentially if there's an event where the Pledge of Allegiance is said, that's the opportunity? So it sounds like it's tied to the Pledge of Allegiance. Am I hearing that correctly?
It doesn't have to be, but the Pledge of Allegiance is a similar ceremonial practice.
Sure.
That a land acknowledgement is akin to.
Okay. All right. Cool.
In relation to public signage, and like Capri mentioned, there is state guidance and legislation, AB 52 and SB 18 2004 session, that provides guidance on signage and use cases, which is similar to what we had to do, reach out to Native American Heritage Commission, request a list of tribes associated with that site, and do meaningful consultation for that specific project. The Native American Heritage Commission provides a list of tribes, and they stamp it with the specific project name that the list was requested in relation to.
Okay, that's good to know. Can open up to my colleagues. Any questions about this issue? Is that your hand, Mr. Nazarian?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, sure. Mr. Nazarian?
I just wanted to echo your sentiments, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate the importance. This might be a very small step, but it's a very important step to acknowledge and to continue. It's a form of education. Growing up, when I would speak to friends who did not know about the Armenian genocide, it's almost as if you're just talking into the abyss. To go through history books and not really understand the full extent of the eradication that happened on these lands as well. Again, it's a version of rewriting history. So I very much appreciate what you also said about when, during the impressionable years, as you're growing up, not to see certain things in your history books, not to read about certain acts, is a way of erasure. And it's very critically important that we acknowledge it and own up the mistakes that were made so that future generations have the benefit of knowing what's right, what's wrong, and what should not happen. Indeed. So thank you very much for that, and thank you all for your work as well.
Thank you so much. especially when the estimates are it was 55 million Native Americans that died, in the process of colonialization. I think it's important to never forget that. Anybody to my left? Yes, Councilwoman Jurado.
Thank you so much, Council Chair, for putting this together and for agendizing it. I think this is great, what you've all started on, and really, I'm glad that we're here. I guess I have one question, just because I know even amongst tribes, the complications that come with the ones that are federally acknowledged and then the ones that aren't, just thinking about how we got to this conclusion and are mindful of the differences, because I know there's a lot of struggle within the designations, whether you're federally acknowledged or not. And so just wanting to see, because I know in comparison to the county, there are different tribes, but that also has to do with our geography. So just wanting to hear a little bit about the thought process on this, and I'm sure there was a lot of thought and consideration into this, because we're not going into this lightly either.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Geraldo. I do know that there are some tribes that aren't federally recognized that perhaps should be, or believe they should be, federally recognized. And so that has been a challenge in this process. And I would like Ronell Hampton to also talk about the process. And he's met with a number of tribes over the last 3 years on this assignment. And so, Ronell, if you could tell us how we got to this point and the various nuances that are necessary in this moment.
Yes, thank you so much for the question, Councilmember Geraldo, and thank you, Capri. In relation to the federal recognition conversation, that wasn't a point of concern for us in this part of the work. We were most important with accounting for the tribes who self-attested a historical relationship to the city of Los Angeles. However, how we were able to get the initial list, we followed state guidance that is reflected in AB 52 and SB 18, 2004. And it has best practices for meaningful engagement with tribal groups. And so with that guidance, we were able to receive the list of 14 tribal groups that are residents of California. From my understanding, the Native American Heritage Commission does not require federal recognition for tribes to submit themselves as onto the list. And that is the list that we were able to use to initiate our engagement with, again, tribal groups who have a historical relationship with the city as a starting point. But again, from that list, 4 of the tribal groups reached back out to us. What we noticed about the list too is that some of the tribal groups are part of the same tribe on the list, right? And so in our intentions, we reached out to all groups at least twice via email and engaged with the ones who responded back to us.
Yeah, I appreciate the talking through the process, at least at the public hearing, just because I feel like there will be questions, but just grounding it in that this was a thoughtful approach based on state law, and the outreach that was made was very thoughtful and comprehensive. And at the end of the day, the groups that are identified were from that list that reached back out, essentially, right?
Correct.
And so that was the Gabrielino, the San Gabriel Gabrielino, the Kitch Nation, and then also the Fernandino Tateviam, and then the Chumash. So,
Correct.
So you reached out based on the state list that has been established, and those were the ones that you reached out a couple times, it sounds like, and then at the end, these are the groups that reached out and said, hey, we want to be part of this. So
Correct.
I appreciate the outreach and the, following the procedures and getting us here, because I know it can be a lot of complex histories that we have, but I'm grateful that folks can be recognized, that want to be seen and heard, and so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilwoman Jurado. Councilwoman Padilla?
I don't have much to say, but I just want to make sure that you guys know how much I appreciate all this work, that we're finally here today. As Councilmember Soto Martinez mentioned, you know, this wasn't something that was very much acknowledged or done in the last decade, but I'm glad that we're here. As somebody who has always considered myself a history wonk, I can't tell you how much how much sleep I lose when people don't understand history, right? Because when we don't know history, we're bound to repeat the atrocities. So this is our way as public servants to make sure that we play a role. And you know, this is the city of angels, and angels don't discriminate. So it's important that we emphasize the diversity of who we are and where we've been. And I hope that this is a step in the right direction for young people to see where we're going. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. One thing I'd like to do, Councilmember Padilla, is to let you know the folks at Lanaic have been champions in this space for decades. And a big thanks to Chair Sean, M.I. Tate's dog, Vice Chair Mark Villaseñor, and the Executive Director, of course, Alexandria Ferguson Valdez. So grateful for folks doing this work, because you're right, history doesn't repeat itself, people repeat history, and in these times we need to stand up and remember, so folks don't make the same mistakes. Thank you again.
Thanks so much, Ms. Maddox. I just want to thank you from the CAO's office for here. I don't know if you want to add anything or any questions for the CAO.
Hello?
Yep.
Hi, good afternoon. Rafael Garcia, Administrative Analyst with the Office of the City Administrative Officer. And before you is a companion report to the Land Acknowledgement Policy report and council file. In this report, we address and present some recommendations based on the council instructions. In this report, the CAO is recommending that the council instruct the city administrative officer with assistance from the chief legislative analyst to continue discussions with the County of Los Angeles and the Lanaic to review the current memorandum of understanding governing the city and county's participation in the Lanaic, and to report back to council with proposed terms of a new MOU, and as well as instructing the CAO to report back on potential funding options and the appropriateness of either part-time staff or additional resources required to support the Lanaic concurrent with those potential revisions to the MOU. In summation, these recommendations are presented at the time given the complexity of reviewing and amending the existing city-county MOU that was adopted in 1976 and then consequently was amended in 1980, which is a substantial amount of time. We wanted to ensure that the council could consider the land acknowledgement portion in a timely manner while these other discussions can continue, considering they may have either potential impacts or may require different approaches.
Was there any analysis? Thank you so much, Mr. Garcia. Was there any sort of similar to the report from the Civil Rights Department? It alludes to some departments and their willingness to do that. Was any of that part of the analysis, or through your report, looking at the departments and sort of their procedures?
Not at this time. We haven't approached other departments at this time. It is mainly the mayor's office and the Civil Human Rights and Equity Department that have engaged the Lanaic in terms of discussions of negotiating or renegotiating the MOU.
Great. Okay. And I think that's why the recommendation is to solicit more input and talk to different departments to see, how they could possibly do it, correct?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
part of the conversation was also just engaging the county and their interest, engage their willingness in amending, which there is interest. It just requires those further discussions.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions for Mr. Garcia from the CAO? Okay, Mr. Clerk, I believe you have some instructions. If you could read those into the record and we can take a vote.
So the instructions are to approve the recommendations in the Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department report dated September 25th, 2025, and City Administrative Report dated October 3rd, 2025, relative to the proposed land acknowledgement statement for the City of Los Angeles, Council File 221142, with the following additional recommendation. Request the Council President to implement the proposed citywide land acknowledgement statement upon its adoption in a form similar to existing practice in which the Council makes other announcement, and this also includes an amendment from the department.
Okay, wonderful. Can we call the roll on that instruction, please?
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Yes.
Councilmember Nazarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Jurado.
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez. Absent. Councilmember Padilla.
Yes.
Five ayes. This item is approved as amended.
I believe that's 4 ayes, 4 ayes.
Sorry, 4 ayes.
4 ayes. Thank you so much, CEO and Civil Rights Department, for, I hope this gets a lot of attention and we're moving things forward. And again, Councilwoman Rodriguez is in here, and I hope she's listening in on YouTube somewhere. I want to thank you for that, Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Maddox, any parting words for us?
Yes, I'd like to thank the City Council and particularly City Council staff for helping us move this forward. And of course, our liaison, Scott Lee, who is working as our City Council liaison to make sure we have a great partnership to get things done for the residents of the City of Los Angeles. So thank you very much. And we have the next generation of leaders behind me. We have 3 students from UCLA. And
All right,
one
good. We
from
like
USC.
UCLA.
We have
USC,
Cal
not
State
so
LA. We have
much.
students from all over, but students make the world go round, and they help us lift the next generation of leaders as well. So
Thank you.
truly, you guys stand up. Young people, you guys
Yeah,
stand
stand
up.
up.
It's
Good.
like their first day. Thank you so much.
We got a couple Bruins here on this committee, so I'm sure they're very proud to see you here.
See why they're outnumbered.
I know. You can sense the enthusiasm from certain chairs on this committee. Mr. Clerk, anything else?
The desk is clear.
Thank you.